Hi there, welcome to Terraland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Sagittarius energy. And like usual, we're going to do two rows. The top row is going to be high vibe Sagittarius. The bottom row is going to be a more worldly, shadowy Sagittarius. We all have a dualistic nature. We all have our more prideful, worldly, immature, having to learn lessons nature. And we've all got our high vibe, hopeful, and believing nature and love. But sometimes people could be struggling within themselves. They might want to live their life differently, but they could still be struggling with taking action on it for some reason. So we'll kind of look at it from that position, but there's always going to be some people in the world that are ready to move forward in life differently. They're done with the debate within themselves and they've made a decision to move forward in life differently. And when some people do that, there's going to be other people in the world or in their life that aren't moving forward in that way. High vibe energy, especially in Sagittarius energy, is about higher learning and education. The truth sets us free, but we got to deal with the truth, which is, do I look at life as an adventure to be lived? Do I look at life as it's about learning lessons, growing, healing, maturing myself? And sometimes we've grown and healed and matured in ways that other people haven't. Are we going to see the truth of that? Are we going to keep hanging out and being in relationships with people who still have some life lessons to learn? But they might harness more worldly or shadowy Sagittarius energy where they're not even inspired to want to deal with those issues. You have to be inspired to even want to see the truth. And some people don't. They prefer to keep living life the way they've lived it, keep being in denial of the truth, living in illusion. Shadowy Sagittarius can be people who just are immature players that don't want to see the truth. So, interesting, in the bottom row, all the cards aren't showing themselves. The reason for their reading is victim mentality, which is kind of like the Five of Pentacles card. We have the free will to belittle ourselves, berate ourselves, not love ourselves. And I think the hardest lesson to learn is to love yourself. Love is what sets us free. Having some hope and faith and belief that we can, if we move forward in life differently, that we do have the capability to start working on moving forward in life differently. But some people don't even attempt to live life differently. So, and the other way the Five of Pentacles can be read is that they have made their life more about the world. I don't have hope and faith and belief and love. I don't look at life from a higher perspective and have hope that I can heal, or I don't even, maybe that is not my philosophy of life. I don't even think there's any other purpose to being on this planet than to have a worldly view of life. It's about me indulging myself in the world, making my life about money and materialism or status or image or all these things that I should work with in order to be happy. And they might be people who completely reject connecting in maybe with their more emotionally intuitive nature. Their intuition could be screaming at them and they're like, no, 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 no. You know, why don't we want to listen to our intuition? We've been drawn and attracted to other people in the past and it didn't work out. The Five of Pentacles is about feeling left out in the cold. The whole thing is we were drawn and attracted to people because we were meant to learn lessons from them. What kind of people did we get in relationship with? What was our intention going into the relationship? Did we get in the relationship more out of fear and insecurity and codependency and ego and image and indulgence? Were we looking to other people to be the answer to our problems, like some people look to drugs and alcohol? If they try to get in relationships with people who do have hope and faith and belief and love, but yet they don't have hope and faith and belief and love, eventually those people are going to listen to their intuition that, we're not on the same page. And then some people don't ever want to deal with the fact that It can be because of how I view life, how I view relationships, how I view myself. It starts within us. We have to do the work within ourselves. And some people don't want to see the truth of that they might have some things they need to heal from. They might be bossy, they might be controlling, they might, some people look to other people. You are supposed to be the answer to my problems. And if, when I get in a relationship with you, my issues bubble back up, well, then you must not be the right person. I need to go find someone else. Because they don't ever think that they are supposed to take responsibility for those things within themselves. The reason for the high vibes reading is letting go. And the 2 cards showing in the top row is deserving and commitment. Other people made the free will choice to love themselves. I view the deserving card as kind of like a 9 of Pentacles card. I have put in work and effort to deal with my own victim mentality, my own fears, my own insecurities, my own self-limiting beliefs, to appreciate what I bring to the table, to see how I needed to grow and mature and heal myself, and how some of the people I've gotten in relationships with needed to heal and grow and mature themselves. And some of the people that I wish would have been more just and fair or loving or balanced or out of their ego or out of their stubbornness or out of their fear or their shadow nature, they didn't free themselves from those things. And so they could have acted in these unloving, unjust, unfair ways. But I'm not going to take that as a reflection of my worth and value. People who've done the work within themselves to work through those issues, to be loving or loving. People who are more grown and matured act more grown and matured. People who've done the work to work through their own issues treat people with love and respect and treat other people the way they like to be treated and are loving and warm and nurturing and supportive. But we see the truth. I could have acted in shadowy ways in my past. We offer high vibe energies about, being in life-giving energy. I'm a fallible human being who had lessons learned. Other people are fallible people who had lessons learned. I'm going to offer love and compassion and forgiveness to myself for the mistakes I've made and the lessons I've had to learn. To start being like my best mother, father, coach voice in my head. So I can let go and offer myself forgiveness for the mistakes I've made. And I'm also going to offer love and compassion and forgiveness to the people in my past for the lessons they didn't learn yet and they may never learn, so I can let it go. High Vibe Sagittarius is about moving forward in life. Life's an adventure. I come into contact with all these different people for me to help me get clear about what my truth is, for me to bring whatever stage of life I'm at and how I'm acting in the world for other people to get in relationship with me, for them to decide if the way I live my life is aligned with their truth or not. And sometimes we meet people and we're not on the same page. How we want to move forward in life is differently. How we view life is differently. What we're motivated and inspired by is different. Everybody's got free will. They can choose hope and faith and belief and love and in themselves and to love themselves. Or they can choose to align with their more worldly view of life, their egoic view of life, their defensive view of life. And then there's the people who want to go back and forth and just present themselves as high vibe when really they're kind of really haven't picked a path. And they're kind of being two-faced or indecisive. Well, I can't decide what I want to do. Do I have hope and faith and belief in love? I want to be in a relationship, so I'll present myself like I do. But, I really have these fears and insecurities I haven't dealt with. Or I am more worldly focused or ego focused or defensive focused. And then those relationships don't work out the way they want. We have to see the truth. Why didn't some relationships work out? How did I need to grow, heal, and mature myself? Was I being egocentric, thinking everything was supposed to be about me. When we realize how hard it is to free yourself from your own shadow nature, your past, your pain, your heartbreak, your self-limiting beliefs, your victim mentality, we can understand why other people in our life didn't do it. The Nine of Pentacles, Earth sign energy, Virgo energy, it takes a lot of work and effort, and we can see why some people didn't do it. Because they didn't want to deal with the truth of some things. They didn't want to deal with their past. They didn't want to deal with their own issues. Didn't want to see the truth about some people in their life. Didn't want to be more independent. Shadowy worldly energy can just be people who kind of make their life about conforming to the world. I'm looking to the world to validate my worth and value. I'm going to do these things so I think the majority of the people maybe in my life will view me a certain way. Because that's important to me. That is more important to me what other people think of me than me loving myself, standing up for myself, knowing my own worth and value, and being more independent in the world. And some people aren't independent in the world. They're codependent on the world. I'm going to wear this. I'm going to dress like this. I'm going to get this type of job. I'm going to act like this. I'm going to try to have this status or power or image. And it can be all operating from the ego, the false self, to try to not shine your authentic light, so that trying to get other people to like you, love you, instead of like, you know what, I don't need all you people to like me and love me. You're who you are. I am who I am. I know I'm going to be my authentic self. High vibe energy is about being authentically yourself. Not wearing a false mask, not trying to create an illusion about who you are, dealing with your own inner issues so that you're comfortable being yourself. And it's from love. I'm going to treat other people the way I like to be treated. I'm going to treat people with love and compassion and encouragement. And if people are into that, then I guess we'll get along. And if they don't, I guess we won't. But I'm not going to try to make my life like about chasing people or getting other people. I can't make other people like me. I can't make other people, all I can do. How about seeing the truth that if the best chance of having people want to be in a relationship with you is for you to be authentic. I admit I'm a fallible human being who's made mistakes. I've learned a lot of life lessons from those life experiences. High vibe energy is about getting out of your ego and defensive nature. I am a fallible human being who's made mistakes. Through that process, I learned that I could keep belittling and berating and self-criticizing myself. There's lots of people I could have stayed in a relationship with that were happy if I do live my life that way. And I probably got in relationships with some people who were happy I hadn't learned to love and believe in myself, that I was immature, that I was impulsive, that I was petty or envious or jealous or mean or whatever, But I was indulgent, whatever. I learned valuable life lessons. High vibe Sagittarius. I went and indulged in living life a certain way that I thought was going to make me happy. And it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And I got out of my pride and ego, and I was inspired in my high vibe Sagittarius and Virgo energy. Maybe the commitment card's like a Gemini energy, because Gemini is a dualistic sign, and it does have to do with what our core truth is. Is it love? Is it the world? Is it me? Is it defensiveness? Is it ego? And I saw the truth. And I let go of aligning with my more shadowy nature. And I chose to start loving me and offering myself compassion and forgiveness so I could let go of the past pain and heartbreak and the self-limiting beliefs. And I started, we've all been children before, and as children, it is us being in more codependent energy, looking to other people and things outside of us to fill our cup emotionally, make us feel more stable, make us feel more grounded. I learned to be my own best mother, father, coach voice in my head. And I made a commitment to me and my dreams, and that I deserve to go on this adventure in life. I made my mistakes. I have my own unique talent, skills, and challenges to overcome, but I'm going to go on this adventure, and I'm not going to keep letting my own shadow nature and people in my life who had some lessons learned in life that could have maybe left me out in the cold, threw me under the bus, kicked me to the curb. I'm going to pick myself up. They can go live their life the way they want to live it based on how they view life. And I'm not going to let Team B make me another player on Team B. I choose Team A. I choose hope and faith and belief and love. Sometimes other people who are in shadowy energy, they purposely do try to leave people in their life who love and believe in themselves, or are more bold or brave or confident than they are, or have more certain traits or characteristics that they could be envious or jealous of. They purposely try to leave them out in the cold to try to get you to feel left out in the cold. So you're kind of in the same mindset they are. And some people said, if you're going to be unjust, unfair, unloving, unkind, not act with character and integrity, that says something about you. And I will take part for how I could have contributed to things, but I'm going to not stay under the bus or kicked to the curb. I'm going to pick myself up. I'm going to offer love, because love is the answer. I'm going to offer love and compassion and forgiveness to the situation to free myself from it. To learn the lesson I was meant to learn from this life experience so I can let it go and I can keep going on this adventure in life. It's like, okay, God, I learned the lesson from that life experience. I'm ready for a new one. I do not want to repeat that way of living life, viewing life, treating myself, types of people I get in relationship, types of jobs I had. Have learned the lesson I was meant to learn. I'm ready to move forward in life differently. And because of that, some of the people who were maybe trying to make us feel left out in the cold or manipulate us, now they could be the ones who are feeling left out in the cold. Because when we're in relationship with people, we have the free will choice to be just and fair and truthful and honest and loving and act with character and integrity. But because some people have some lessons to learn, they could have taken some action more out of fear and insecurity and defensiveness and ego, stubbornness, something. And the high vibe people weren't having it. And now they could feel left out in the cold. And they're also learning lessons in life. They're pursuing things, maybe more of the world, from some not aligned with truth and love. And they just have some lessons learned for some of them, and growing up to do. And I think they're going to keep finding that things don't work out the way they want, because I think we came to this world with the knowledge of the tree of good and evil within us, and the seeds of both planted within us. How are you going to choose love, or are you not? And if you don't, that's kind of when the devil comes into our life. It's like, oh, you didn't learn to love and believe in yourself? Come on over. We have a key on both sides on the mirrors of the scales of justice. Nothing's wasted. Everybody's on their own journey. You're going to learn some lessons, but they might be a little painful because you haven't learned to love and believe in yourself and offset your grow up your more immature or fearful or prideful nature. you kind of keep giving into it. And when you keep giving into your more shadowy nature and take action out of shadowy energy, you're going to learn some hard lessons like the other people in the world have. And it's probably not going to work out the way you wanted because you didn't know your worth and value. You weren't committed to hope and faith and belief and love, putting in work and effort to act with character and integrity and in truth and love, and you still got some lessons to learn. And it's probably not going to work out the way you think. You might end up, it's kind of like shadowy energy at the big pictures represented by the devil. You might have the Five of Pentacles as Taurus energy. In shadowy Taurus, the high vibe people harness high vibe Taurus energy. The shadowy people are harnessing a more worldly, shadowy philosophy of life. You might end up with all the things of the world, indulge in all these things, have the status, have the image, have the power, have the money. You could have all the things of the world that the devil said will make you happy. You don't have to put in that work and effort to heal and grow and mature yourself. And they're going to find out one day that it isn't, it's in the energy of love since we've been little children that we grow and thrive in. When people, not just people indulging us in our ego and like giving into us and us being stubborn or bossy or controlling, some people think that's what would make them happy. And it doesn't, Do you think the people they tell themselves, the people who are tyrants or bullies or whatever in the world and of countries, that no, this is the way to do it. But they don't have authentic, loving, supportive, encouraging people probably in their life because those people don't want to hang around someone like that. The high vibe people were willing to sacrifice some of those things of the world or the me nature to work together cooperatively with other loving people. And some of the more worldly, shadowy people weren't willing to give up some of those things because they thought for sure those things would make them happy. They thought for sure living their life like that was the way to keep them safe from being hurt. And some of them don't even want to do love because they reject love. So anyway, back up to the high vibro. We have two cards not showing itself. For one thing, there's some people in the world that they could just see you as someone. The Nine of Pentacles can be someone who's single, can be someone who is very stable, grounded, has unique talent, skills, and interests. Maybe people would want to hire you for a job regardless of if you're regardless of if you're in a relationship or a marriage or not. People could view you as someone that people would want to be in a relationship with or hire, right? But you're committed to moving forward in truth and love, and some other people aren't willing to do that. I don't love and believe in myself. I'm not single if you're single, I'm not single. And I might feel left out in the cold in the relationship I'm in, but I'm not willing to maybe get out of it. Other people will get out of it. But there's always going to be some people in the world who, shadowy energy can be people who are trying to present themselves as harnessing high vibe energy, but they're just creating an illusion. Some people could think that some of the stable, grounded, loving, authentic people in their life, they're just creating an illusion of being that type of person. You're just putting on a better illusion than they are. They don't understand how you're creating such a much better illusion than they are about seeming so stable and grounded and moving forward in life and inspired by life and truth and love. You're not creating an illusion. That's what they don't get. You aren't attached to these type of energies anymore in some degree of a shadowy way. And you did detach from people in your life that you could have previously hung out with because they also, to some degree, harness this energy in a shadowy way. And when you quit aligning with that within yourself, you quit kind of aligning with those people in your life. And now you're harnessing these energies in a high vibe way. And that's what some people don't know about you. Peace and status quo. We all grow up in the world. Taurus energy is earth sign energy. We have the free will choice to make our life about the world and the things of the world. And we have all these things that we want to go indulge in that we share or make us happy. It's part of growing up and learning these lessons in life. And you previously, I kind of look at the peace card as kind of like the justice card represented by the scales of justice. You know, at one point in time, we all live our life in a way that we think is just and fair at any given moment in time. We were all 15 once. It was just and fair for us to live life like a 15-year-old. And then, you know, we kind of gotten tired of being like acting like a 15-year-old. We faced our fears to detach from thinking that was just and fair. And then we started to do this work within ourselves to align with harnessing this energy in a higher vibe way to become like an 18-year-old. I am going to face my fears and insecurities of letting go of being like a 15-year-old and my more immature ways of viewing life and living life, and I am going to move forward being like an 18-year-old. And we do this process throughout our life. But once we become an adult, we blend in with all the other adults in the world, and we kind of don't have the peer pressure to maybe keep up with people in life, you know, as much. And some people were like, I just plan to live my life like this. I'm done facing my fears and insecurities. Shadowy energy can be about staying stuck, staying in your comfort zone. Well, I could do that, but then I would again have to go through this process of working through my fears and insecurities of moving forward in life differently and having more hope and faith and belief in my dreams, just like I did during those significant time periods of my life when I was younger. But I just had the mentality that once I got to be an adult, you know, and I got a job or I got in a relationship or I got married, I was done with having to do that. And that's how some people view life, and that's how some people want to live life. I'm good doing this like forever. It's like, so whatever fears and insecurities and self-limiting beliefs, they're just going to keep stockpiling. You're not ever going to work through any of them to shed any of them to move forward in life differently. Nope. You know, it's kind of like you also can get in a relationship with someone and it can go good for a long time. But then there can be some kind of at a core foundational level, some truth that people would have to deal with. And that's when a relationship can end. And what some of those people didn't realize is that some of the people they were in relationship with keep doing this work within themselves to not stay in stuck, stagnant energy, where they might, that could be their stopping point. There's something here I would have to deal with, or it has to do with my underlying philosophy of life. It really challenges me. Do I have hope and faith and belief in love? Do I think I deserve love? Am I willing to get out of my addictions or my defensive nature or my ego nature or my more materialistic view of life? And sometimes they're not willing to let that go and do this work within themselves to face their fears of letting it go in a way to go to the next phase of life. And they didn't realize some of the people in their life are like, I'm not going to stay stuck in something that's kind of in no longer going with the flow of life, of growing and healing and continuing to mature myself to my full potential. You might be happy at where you're at, and you could stay here another 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, maybe all your life. I've maybe been offering love and encouragement to want people to move forward with me in this new way, but I can't make people deal with some core foundational level things at a core foundational level within themselves. And if they don't want to do it, I either staying in the relationship with them, kind of hiding that I'm just trying to continue to maintain balance in something that is stagnant, and some people are doing that, and other people did that already and they're done doing that. It's like, I've come to peace about the situation. The truth sets us free. I see the truth that how you want to live your life and what motivates and inspires you, and if you want to grow or heal or mature yourself or deal with your fears or insecurities, you kind of view that differently than me. And I'm no longer willing to keep putting in this work and effort because I've already been doing that. We could look, at the letting go card. It also is kind of like a high vibe version of the Five of Pentacles, because the Five of Pentacles in high vibe is there was a foundation that we were holding on to, but we've come into some truth, clarity, insight, or something that we might have been just continuing to stay in it because we had our own fear of detaching from it. So then we could have kept staying in it out of fear and insecurity, plus, love that we want these people to move forward with us. But when we start to realize that we want to kind of live life differently and kind of go in opposing directions, maybe, at what point are we going to deal with the truth that the direction they want to go and the direction I want to go is different? And then people do this work to come to peace about it. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to let you live your life the way you want to live it. And I'm going to listen to my intuition and love to guide my decisions. I wish you peace and love, but this isn't how I'm going to keep moving forward in my life. If we're not on the same page, we're not on the same page. And some people, again, they don't realize that you have reconciled yourself with the past, because some of these people don't ever reconcile themselves with the past and their fears and their insecurities and their pride and their ego or their defensive nature or their prideful nature. And you're not creating an illusion. You are at peace within yourself. So I'm kind of looking at the six, or the status quo card, is kind of like a Six of Pentacles, a Six of Cups. I've reconciled myself within myself in my own dualistic nature about these things of the world that I want, but what love and truth and justice and fairness is guiding me towards. And I see that some people in my life aren't on the same page as me, and I accept they have free will. They have their own ways of wanting to live life, what their truth is, what motivates and inspires them. And I've come to peace about it, and I'm letting go. Some people have already done that with some people. Some people could be doing that right now. Some people are still trying to put in the work and effort to love and encourage. Some people still not wanting to detach. And we got to respect all of that. Everybody learns lessons at different times. Everyone's more bold and brave and confident. Everybody's got to listen to their own intuition. And when they are at a place of peace about the decisions they're going to make, they will, or they won't. This is a feminine figure. This is a masculine figure. The way I read tarot is the masculine figures can represent how we're taking action in the world. The feminine figures can represent how we think and how we feel. The high vibe people now kind of viewing this as like a King of Cups, a King of Pentacles, a King of Swords, a high vibe Emperor. They're people who have learned some lessons in life and making good decisions, stable, grounded decisions in their life from a place of love, balance, character, and integrity, knowing their worth and value, looking to be in relationship with other people who are on that same page. And they've cut some people out of their life who could still be repeating an old pattern, because we all repeat a pattern of a way of living life and viewing life because we have lessons learned. And until we see the truth of it and work through the challenge of that like phase of life, if you look at life as like a video game and you have to overcome certain obstacles to go to the next level of life, there's some people that are still thinking it's just and fair because it maybe is just and fair because that's where they're at in life. That's their maturity level. That's how they view life, you know? And they still are happy maybe living their life that way. And we've cut some of those people out of our life because that's not our truth. And it no longer was making us feel balanced within ourselves. It was kind of tipping us out of balance, realizing we could have been staying and living our life that way, more out of our fear and insecurity. So we did this work to move on from it. So when we're kind of in our more shadowy energy and we're resistant to moving to the next phase of life, we could be hiding the fact that we previously could have rejected some more emotionally mature, loving, encouraging people in our life because that isn't where we were at that time. And just like we were at that stage of life at one time, we currently could know some people at that stage of life. We weren't ready, and they're not ready to go to the next phase of life. And we could kind of hide from the world that we might harness these energies in a more shadowy way, but we don't want people to know it because we feel left out in the cold and we want people to hire us, be our friend, be in a relationship with us. But we really hadn't learned to do this inner work within ourselves. And sometimes, we'll be drawn and attracted to people who in some ways have some of the same self-limiting beliefs or at the same phase of life that we're at. But again, we could harness these energies differently. We can all feel left out in the cold and want to be in a new job, a new friendship, a new relationship. But sometimes we get in relationships with people who we have a lot of commonality with in a lot of ways. Taurus energy can represent all these different things in the world. It could be that maybe we were aligning with people who we had similar backgrounds as. We kind of grew up in similar households. We kind of had similar ways of viewing life. We could have had grown up in families or parents that had certain views of life. And so we have commonality there. We went to the same school. We're from the same town, went to the same college. We could be of the same religion. We could be of the same race. We could be whatever gender association you are with. It's all these things of the world that, that we can have a lot of commonality with. A problem can come into play, though, when one person might harness these energies in a more hopeful, believing way, and the other person kind of harnesses them in a more shadowy way. But we can get in relationships with them. We can work at that job. We can marry people. We can date people. And we can stay in a relationship with them for a long time. And we could put a lot of work and effort into making those things work until we get to kind of a core foundational level that needs to be dealt with to go to the next phase of the relationship. And then that's a stumbling block. So let's go look at these cards. The loving man, optimism, vast future, friends, family, and guides, joyous fun, and then dark thoughts. So, who knows at what point we're ever going to drive our life off into the ditch, right? We can get, it's kind of like the two dogs within ourselves. Which one are we going to feed? Whichever one we feed is going to get bigger. We could get in relationships with people, and if we both do this work to take action with the loving man, means people taking action in the world from a place of love, optimistic about a dream with the vast universe of working together with people inspired to work together, kind of Sagittarius energy, you know. But then what happens during, as we progress in relationships with people, that things come up that cause us some fear and some insecurities. And, because that's at every level of life. Those are the obstacles we have to overcome on every level of life. Did we fall through the hole, go down to the next level because, oh shit, I got, kind of in my shadow nature thinking I could be immature. Boing! You got to go back to the beginning of the game and you got to work through all the obstacles to get back up to that level. Oh shit, I gave in to maybe being petty or bossy or controlling or immature or defensive or lacked hope and faith and belief, or we can all get caught up in the dark thoughts in our more shadowy view of life. And as we work with people, because we have our more worldly, self-focused, immature nature, and we've got lots of lessons to learn in life, when we get in relationships with other people, it does kind of start, for us to keep moving forward in that relationship, there's some issues we need to deal with about growing and maturing and healing ourselves. And are we willing to do that in Sagittarius energy, to take inspired action towards those things, to keep loving and believing in ourselves, to keep moving forward in that relationship, going as we keep moving forward in life? Sadly, for some people, that really ends up being a stumbling block for them. Whatever it is that could be something in their shadowy nature could just be, I don't love and believe in myself. If people, we will always prove ourselves right, because our whole life of what we manifest is based on what we think is true. And if we have, say, a lack mentality, oh no, people will always leave me. Oh no, people will always reject me. Oh no, I'm always the victim. No, things don't ever work out for me. People who are like that will self-sabotage a relationship. Because until they deal with that issue, because it's kind of like, no, this can't happen. I can't have this happen, because then I'd have to change my whole philosophy of life. And this is my philosophy of life, that things don't work out for me. People reject me. People leave me out in the cold. People abandon me. And they will self-sabotage a relationship to prove themselves true. It's like, see, I told you those people would leave me. It's like, yeah. If you were kind of not being authentic, because the masculine energies can also represent, like I say, people operating from their ego, and it can be hiding behind your ego and kind of wearing a false mask. So there's some people who kind of hide, with these cards not showing themselves, they kind of hide that they do kind of operate from their more egoic, defensive nature because of some of their fears and insecurities and not trusting other people, that they kind of present themselves as a loving, like, family person to people in the world, hoping in the optimistic card that, they can find some people to work with in a relationship. But then they never work through when they're in those supportive and encouraging and loving environments. They don't do this work within themselves to work through why they kind of don't appreciate what they bring to the table. I mean, if other people get in a relationship with them, there must be things that they like about them. But they don't. It's kind of like, well, it's really crazy. Some people really who haven't developed or appreciated their core self, it's almost like a pseudo-narcissist in a way, because a true narcissist is somebody maybe who doesn't really have a core self. And it's like putting all these puzzle pieces together to make up who they are. Oh, I learned from this person. I should act like that. That's acceptable. Okay. I learned from this person this puzzle piece. I learned from that person this puzzle piece. And it's kind of like they've taken all these things that they've learned in the world of how to act. That is Taurus energy. How do I present myself in the world so people view me as a stable, grounded pillar of society of that people should want to be in a relationship with, right? But they didn't really, it was all like strategic. Shadowy energy could be living more from the mind than the heart. Oh, I should do that. Okay, I'm going to do that. Oh, I don't act like that. Okay, I'm not going to act like that. But it is like, because instead of being more appreciative of themselves and loving themselves and being more authentic, it's like this construct of self that they present to the world. And then even when they get in loving and supportive relationships, it's kind of happy that they're in it, kind of indulging themselves in it, but they never take action towards some of these issues within themselves to free themselves from them. And eventually, you know, those same issues that they have that they don't deal with could bubble up. And they could, you know, and that's when the people that they're in relationship with become, the truth sets us free, being enlightened to the truth. The other people in their life realize you have some issues that you haven't dealt with. I didn't know you were controlling or fearful or bossy or immature or egotistical or stubborn, or, you know, or I just didn't realize that your view of life was that this is your idea of the perfect life. But it could be getting in relationships with people who harness this in a more high vibrational way, that do this work within themselves to be these loving, nurturing, more just, fair, balanced people. And you want to be in relationship with people like that, but you don't really want to be that type of person yourself, which some people would say is kind of an immature way of viewing life. I want to be bossy and you should just tolerate me being bossy. I want to be immature. I want to hide behind my ego. I want to wear my false mask. I really don't want to be more authentic and warm and loving, that you could have a deep, meaningful relationship with me, because I really don't align with that within myself. I just want to look like I'm moving forward victoriously and successfully in the world, and I look to get in relationships with people who are more emotionally grown and matured and loving than me, because that's really great, and I like being in a relationship with them. But then the whole time I'm in a relationship with them, I'm always afraid that they're going to see the truth that I'm not who I say I am. And they're going to want me to move forward with them while they continue to grow and heal and mature themselves. But how do I even fake that next level? Because I maybe wasn't even on the level of life and maturity that I tried to present myself as when I got in a relationship with you. So, some of the shadowy people have had loving people who did want to bring a dream into reality with them, who did try to work together with them and love and inspire them to love and believe in themselves. But they just weren't willing kind of to put in the time, energy, and effort to work through whatever some of their shadowy traits or characteristics were, to free themselves. And eventually the loving, encouraging people, it's like, I can only offer people love and encouragement, but I can't keep staying in a relationship with someone who I feel is being unjust, unfair, not authentic, not healing, not growing, not maturing, has some issues that they refuse to deal with, could be codependent on a group or original family that they're not willing, they have things they're not willing to become independent of. If that's their fearful nature, their defensive nature, their stubborn nature, this way of viewing relationships, it's like, well, if that's how you view life, if that's how you view relationships, that's not how I view life and how I view relationships. So I wish you peace and I'm becoming independent of you. And now, are we willing? Love is about, we all have dreams and aspirations, and we all have our own ideas of what the dream life and relationship would be like. Well, working together with other people means that everybody might have to shave some things off of what they would do if they were just living their own life. But if I'm going to work together with others, I should be willing to compromise, but that can be a stubborn philosophy of life. Some people do have, certain traits or characteristics or assets about them. And they could kind of feel like, well, because I bring this to the table, I then think that this is how I should be able to be in relationships. And if people want those things that I bring to the table, well, I guess if they don't love and believe in themselves enough to become independent of me, well, then I guess we're going to do the relationship the way I want. And I might be, now I'm kind of looking at the Dark Thoughts card. Well, kind of a mix between a shadowy Gemini, shadowy Scorpio energy. I should be able to live more from my mind than my heart. I might be fearful and insecure and controlling and all these things, but I guess if you don't love and believe in yourself, then I guess you're going to stay in a relationship with me. And some people are looking for people who are like that. Kind of like preying on people. Oh, look, here's a loving, nurturing person. Things didn't work out for them. I'm going to present myself as loving to them to try to get them, make them think I'm more high vibe than I am. I too had things that didn't work out. Little does this person know that I've got these issues that I keep buried beneath the surface, or that I know that person wants a dream to come into reality from love, but that's not how I view life, but this might be good for my ego and my image and my status. So I'm going to get in a relationship with them, and I'm hoping when they realize that as they keep putting in all this work and effort to try to get me to be more hopeful and believing and authentic and loving and looking at life from a higher perspective and dealing with some of my inner issues, hopefully, even when they see the fact that I like that you put in all this work and effort to love and encourage me, that is my dream relationship. But by the way, I don't ever plan to change. I am who I am. And maybe you didn't listen to your intuition when you got in a relationship with me to realize I'm not like you. But maybe you thought you could heal me. Perfect. I like people like that. You're going to put a lot of work and effort into making this relationship work, right? Wonderful. That works for me. By the way, we have the free will choice. What is our truth? And if we meet people and they're immature and impulsive, they're prideful, egotistical, they're defensive, they're materialistic, they're egotistical and self-centered, good luck. If they were someone who is motivated and inspired to not be like that, they wouldn't be like that. But as they went through making all the decision process and debate within themselves to decide what type of person they were going to be, that's the end conclusion. The current end result, the trial's over. This is who I am in the world. And then people get in a relationship with them. It's like, oh, I can change them. I can get them to release that old foundation and to move forward with me in this new way. Well, it's one thing. It's good to offer people love and encouragement and resources. It's another thing to date them or marry them. And that could have kind of been us in our God Savior complex. And we do that. And then we realize, shit, I invested all this time, energy, and effort into someone who didn't have the same philosophy of life as I did. Because Taurus is about our philosophy of life. And who really wants to be in a relationship with someone who's really trying to change them, right? How about you make the free will decision to be someone who's more loving, more giving, more balanced, more just, more fair, more authentic? And if you do that, then I'll be in a relationship with you. But until you do, no. And for some people, they know that's how, that they don't want it to deal with some of their issues, or they know this is how they view life, how they view relationships, how they want to be. And if they have people in their life who either they're indulging to have those things of the world that they think will make them happy, or they have someone indulging them who they don't think is going anywhere, well, if any of you met somebody, made an offer to some people in your world to move forward with you in this more high vibrational way, some of those people are like, I think I'll stay here and keep living my life like this. And we need to see the truth of that. You know, and just like you having gotten in situations where you kind of realized with some people in your life, you kind of were in mismatched energies, some of those people could be getting out and taking action to free themselves of why they would stay in kind of a mismatched relationship with people. But like I say, some people are still in the process of putting in work and effort to make that relationship work. You know, we can only work with the people in our life who are willing to work with us. And if there's people that we would like to have work together with us in our life, but they're not, well then, you know, we can't let it keep us in stagnant energy. And for some of the people, that's what they do want. Maybe, well, they go indulge in their shadow nature. Oh, you're not going anywhere, even if you're independent of me and you're single. Oh, but you're sitting over here and independent of me. I'm going to go play. Some of those people are still doing that, thinking, not seeing you clearly, because in shadowy energy, our kind of like pride, our ego, our immature nature kind of clouds our judgment. We're not really seeing things clearly. Some people could be thinking that, like, oh, you know, I'm going to go indulge in these things of the world or other people in the world or whatever. And I bet, oh, you still feel left out in the cold, right? What these people don't know is you've come to peace about the past and you've emotionally let go of them. And by the time they realize it, and you maybe get yourself in a new commitment, if some of you aren't already in a new commitment, that's when it's like, oh shit, I thought that person was stuck. I knew they loved me. This stuck energy card with the vehicle there kind of reminds me of the Chariot. I knew that person loved me. And I thought I could manipulate them because they have love for me and they put a lot of work and effort to want to make a dream come into reality. I thought for sure they were like feeling left out in the cold and I could manipulate them because they love me. It's like, shit, I didn't know that they transformed themselves. I didn't know they did this work within themselves. That yes, they wanted justice in this relationship, but because I kept like repeating an old pattern, they came to peace about it and they freed themselves. We can all be very, like Taurus is fixed energy, kind of the dark thoughts, Scorpio energy emotionally is fixed energy. When we get in relationships, we can put in all this work and effort to try to make things work, and then it can be hard to transition out of it. Virgo energy is one of the earth sign energies that we tap into to help us transition out of things. And Virgo energy goes within to see the truth. People who are loving act with love. And they take action in truth and love. And the people who don't really aren't on that page. They could be being deceptive, manipulative, And that's not love. Loving people don't want people to feel stuck and left out in the cold from love. That some people, it's like, well, it's because you're doing this work within yourself and you're changing. I don't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. I don't want to do that. That's not how I want to move forward. I want to move forward like this. And I'm going to leave you out in the cold. And I'm hoping you'll come back and do it my way. And some people are like, no, I will do the work within myself to work through my own fears and insecurities of letting you go because I could have loved you. But apparently the way you want to live life and the way I want to live life or conduct ourselves in relationships is very different. And I deserve to be in a relationship with someone who's willing to work through their pride, their ego, their fear, their insecurities about maybe being loving or being more just and fair in a relationship. Less about themselves, less about their ego, less about money and materialism or codependency. And I'm going to go find those people. And some of you have taken action to communicate with people who you think are just and fair, people who you think have reconciled themselves with the past, who are ready to go on this new adventure with you. And you'll make your offer to people. And if those people don't move forward with you, you will do this work to come to a place of balance about that, to release them to live their life the way they want to live it. And you'll keep moving forward, believing the divine has a plan for your life. The divine knows the hearts and minds of other people in the world. And because things are veiled from us, we can only assume by the actions people are or are not taking in their life. They're either moving forward in high vibe, loving relationships, or maybe they're really not on the same page as us. So either way, we wish them peace and we keep moving on with the people who are in our life working together with us in that way. What's coming up for the people who harness some high vibe Sagittarius energy that they might not see coming up? Ooh, that was a lot. Plus I had my deck upside down, which I would have read them upside down, but I do not want 8 cards. Okay. We have 2 cards, and the reason they came out is because of the 3 of Pentacles. The 3 of Pentacles is Capricorn energy. Shadowy Capricorn energy is represented by the devil. What you don't see coming, it's a process, right? We can distance ourselves from certain people, but emotionally, represented by the feminine figure, which can represent how we think and feel, it can take time to emotionally detach from people to be ready to have new beginnings. And that's what the high vibe people, from some people in their life, they're doing the inner work to, free themselves. And so that's high vibe Capricorn energy, putting in the work and effort, and also about new beginnings, because you freed yourself from what was manipulating you within yourself, and then the people in your life that maybe tried to manipulate you when you were in a more shadowy or codependent, hadn't learned to love yourself nature. And you freed yourself. And what you don't see coming is that you will have freed yourself, that you'll be getting in new relationships and having new beginnings, because Capricorn is also cardinal energy, which is about starting new things. And I think that it'll be about that you're able to detach from harnessing these energies in a more shadowy way and cut some of those people out of your life for good. The 10 of Cups and the Ace of Cups. There was a person that you thought that you previously had been offering love to, but again, you could harness, this is Pisces energy, what you view as your dream relationship and the dream life is different. And either they've moved on and have already gotten in relationships with loving, nurturing people for some of you, or they kind of have these illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. And you think they have some growing up and maturing to do, and you could feel like they indulge themselves in relationships and want to be indulged in relationships. But they have a way of living life that they think makes them happy, or they think will make them happy. And you've seen the truth of it, and you've wished them peace and love, and you're going to let them go live their life the way they want and go invest in the things they want to go invest in. And you're not going to be emotionally investing in them anymore. You freed yourself from that. And it could have been people in your own family. It could have been people that you thought were going to be in your life long term. It could have been people that you could have been in a long-term relationship with, or people that you were married to. And it's like, I felt left out in the cold. I didn't feel it was emotionally balanced and loving. And I was willing to transform my whole life, and I was willing to put an end to working with certain people in my life because I loved myself. And I feel like the people that I had been in a relationship with could have tried to present, even though this is a feminine figure, as a loving person. They were wearing a mask, and they wanted me to be imprisoned by whatever imprisons them. And I was bold and brave enough to do work on my own foundation, to detach from this foundation, to listen to my intuition and love to guide my decisions. And though I could have love for those people, it's just the way they want to keep living their life. And the way I want to live my life moving forward is different. So what's coming up for the people who might harness a more worldly or shadowy Sagittarius energy? What they don't see coming. Yeah, and I think as the people do this work within themselves, there's other people that are going to see that you're not in shadowy energy and you're not taking action, trying to manipulate people, or out of pride or ego or immaturity. And there's going to be other emotionally mature, stable, grounded people that want to be in a relationship. But of course, we have free will. So there's also going to just be people who are single, who again are presenting themselves as loving to be the next person who wants to be the next person to indulge in a relationship with you. And I think you'll listen to your intuition about who's who. And based on the lessons you've learned, and the Pentacles can talk about investing time, energy, and effort into getting to know the truth of people and what kind of drives and motivates them, how they view relationships, how they view life. Are they kind of emotionally more immature and indulgent and have illusions about what it means to be in a relationship? Is it just because they feel left out in the cold? The person they were in a relationship with wasn't very nurturing or loving, but they're also in shadowy energy. It's like, no. And I think you'll let go of the people you need to let go of, and you'll move forward with the people who are on the same page as you. What's coming up? Okay. We have the Fool, the Seven of Wands, the Ten of Pentacles, the Eight of Cups, the Queen of Swords, because of the King of Cups. Some of the people who had loving people in their life, and some of the people who right now have loving people in their life, they had some loving people in their life who for a long time could have been putting in work and effort to make a relationship work. But then they were inspired to listen to their intuition and stand up for themselves and offer love to their own more immature nature, to love and believe in themselves, to stand up for themselves. Wait a minute. I want to be in relationships with people who harness high vibe Virgo energy. I might have thought I wanted to be in relationships with people who are more about indulging themselves in these things of the world, or making money or ego or image more important. But I kind of realized that was just kind of getting caught up in the illusion. And I want to be more independent of harnessing these energies in a shadowy way, and want to become independent of people who still keep defending living their life that way. and I'm going to become independent of them and look at life from a higher perspective and have hope and faith and belief in my dreams and love myself and get out of maybe more codependent energy, because the Eight of Cups is headed towards the Nine of Cups, which is being more emotionally independent. To speak my truth, to believe in my dreams. I invested in these things. I thought these people were going to move forward with me. I thought we had the same dream. But they keep repeating some old patterns. And I've finally been enlightened to the truth that though I could love them, though they could have love for me, they're defensive of walking away from maybe their more worldly view of life, or wearing their false mask and being more authentic in a relationship, or unwilling to look at life from a higher perspective because they're about conforming to the world and making their life about all those things. And I see the truth of it. And so some people who were somehow aligned with their more worldly, shadowy nature had some other people in their life who did walk away from them and are walking away from them. And they could feel betrayed. Sometimes people know I don't plan to do love. I'm afraid of love. I get hurt doing love. I know I operate from my defensive, egoic nature. But sometimes people don't. They don't. They could have hope and faith and belief too that, when it gets to that point, I'll let go of my false mask. I'll be willing to have hope and faith and belief in love. And then when they get to that point, then it's like, oh shit. And then that's kind of when they decide, no, I guess I don't. I'm not willing to detach from this way of life and go to that next phase of life. And sometimes they don't know it, but then once they've been in a relationship that really challenged them to make that decision, then they do know. And then they know when they're getting in relationships with people that if they get in a relationship again with someone who's a hopeful, believing person who believes in love, then they know. And that is trying to manipulate someone. Those people have already had loving, inspiring people in their life, and they chose to end that relationship because they have these issues that they're not willing to deal with. And that's why some of those people left, and they don't want some of the people in their life to know that's why those people left. I've already had loving, encouraging, supportive people in my life. It was great when I was in a relationship with them, but eventually they saw the truth, and eventually they left. But I'll present myself as loving to you, and I'll enjoy the ride for as long as it lasts. It's good for my ego and my image and my status, and I get to be in a relationship with a loving, nurturing person until you see the truth. For some of those people, they moved on to a new relationship and they did the exact same thing again. The whole thing is people learn lessons in life, and people have more experience, and people aren't as naive and gullible. As some of these people get older and older, it gets harder and harder to find someone they can manipulate, because other people have went through some life experiences and learned to listen to their intuition, because when they didn't before, it didn't work out the way they wanted. And now they're more committed to listening to their creative, inspired nature and their intuition to guide their decisions, instead of their want for being in a relationship or staying in a job or having a job. For some of them, they're going to have other people leave their life. If not romantic relationships, it could be people that they thought were going to be in their life long term. I always thought you were this more high vibrational person, but you keep doing these things that doesn't seem like you're that type of person at all. You like to present yourself as someone who harnesses high vibe Cancer energy, but you've had people in your life who are loving and nurturing and warm that want to work together with you to bring a dream into reality, and you're defensive to them. You seem to maybe be immature. You seem to defend some other foundation in your life, or you're more stubborn or self-centered or egotistical view of life. And I think that's why these people leave you. And they could have other people leave their life and be defensive to them. You know, some people have done a lot of work to have a certain status and image in the world. That's kind of Taurus energy in the Five of Pentacles. Like, I'm this pillar of society. I have done this and I do this and I present myself like this, you know. And so they could have thought, I can do these things maybe behind the scenes, but people wouldn't believe it. You know, I can manipulate people. I can confuse people about the truth. That shadowy 10 of Cups, shadowy Pisces energy. They don't have to be a Pisces sun sign. But they're people who try to create this illusion of what a loving, stable, grounded, just, fair, mature person they are. That they're this single person, you know, that people should want to get in a relationship with them. But that's really not, that's just an illusion. They really are someone who has a lot of issues they need to work through. And then they could try to get people in relationships with them, trying to present this false persona, hoping that when those people see the truth, those people will not be willing to leave them. What would people say? Gee, it maybe does have status and image and stability and security. And I did want a dream to come into reality with them. And I do have love for them. And I'm kind of in my pride and ego about leaving it and the social stigma of leaving. But eventually, high vibe people, I can't stay in something that's not aligned with my truth. I don't want to maintain an illusion. I don't want to live a life of illusion. I have the opportunity to live my authentic life and have my dreams come into reality. And I feel this person wasn't being honest with me. And they're maybe not speaking the truth. And I'm going to take action to speak my truth. I mean, I don't have to belittle or berate other people. It's just, I'm also willing to live my authentic life, and the world can judge away, because really the people in the world are going to judge you every day based on the type of person they are. It doesn't really matter what you do. You could act with character and integrity, and some people are going to insult and belittle and berate you. You know, you could do shadowy things, and loving, compassionate people are going to be loving and compassionate. You know, I'm going to live my authentic life, and people can judge away. For some people, they're staying in situations because they're afraid of people judging them. They do have a certain image and status. They could have portrayed themselves as a certain type of person. Oh, this is the perfect dream life. I'm so happy. And they're not. Another thing the shadowy people might not see coming is there's always going to be other people who have lessons to learn from people like this. We have to quit being naive and gullible. We have to get out of our God Savior complex. You know, we need to start accepting people for who they showed themselves to be. Get in relationships with people who seem to be on the same page as us. Even if we're not in a relationship and we might feel stuck, we temper our ego and love and believe in ourselves to keep waiting for the people who are on the same page as us. Because if we get in relationships with people who aren't on the same page as us, it's going to wear down our foundation. And it's just stopping us from kind of our divine inheritance. Because we're investing our time, energy, and effort into things and people and ways of living life that aren't aligned with that. And then when people come along who are on the same page as us, then it's like, oh shit. Now I find myself trapped in a relationship that I'd really like to maybe get out of, but because, I don't know, I don't want to admit the truth, and because blah, 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 you know. Anyway, they're going to have other people that are willing to get in a relationship with them. Some of them will be loving this whole same situation, will replay, but they might have someone who comes towards them who also is like them, who wears a false mask, and that would be a just and fair relationship. They should be in relationships with people who are on the same page as them. If they're kind of bossy and controlling, they should be in a relationship with people who don't mind being in relationships with bossy and controlling people. If they're immature and indulgent, maybe go get in a relationship with someone else who's immature and indulgent. Who'll present themselves as like a loving family person too. But they might be materialistic and all about looking like a shining star in the world. And they want to indulge in that, or there's these things of the world that they both like to indulge in to the same degree. Perfect. We're on the same page. Let's make our life about that. And it could just be people who, keep living a pattern of life where they don't really. High vibe chariot energy is an emotionally balanced, loving foundation within yourself to kind of like grow to your full potential. We don't have to grow to our full potential if we don't want to. We can keep staying in our comfort zone. Some people will, and it'll be like repeating the same old pattern over and over and over again. Nothing new to learn there. It's like dead energy. We can keep being fearful, insecure, codependent. We can keep trying to manipulate and control people. And some people said, no thanks. I want to become independent of that and my own shadow nature and people who are in their shadow nature to believe in myself and believe in my dreams. And while these people are doing this, probably thinking they are living the life, and aren't all you other people feeling left out in the cold from them, what they don't know about you is you have aligned with your loving, hopeful, believing nature and are happy within yourself and at peace within yourself. And again, sometimes some people are only getting in other relationships because they're mad that other people loved and believed in themselves and walked away, and they're just taking action out of ego. I'm going to present myself as loving to get in a relationship with someone and move forward with them because I want someone else to feel left out in the cold and have mental conflict. And eventually, when they see the truth, then they'll probably feel betrayed. It's like, what? I've been doing all this work to make you feel out in the cold and feel betrayed and feel like you weren't getting justice. It's like, yeah, I know. And I just moved on with my life and I'm happy. And then they'll be mad. It's like the only person they really deceived was wasting their life, taking action in their life out of pride, ego, pettiness, vengefulness, and ego. They could have been spending their time freeing themselves from the things that manipulate them and living their authentic life from love, but no. They have these shadowy ways of being, which again can be petty, envy, jealous, vengeful, competitive. So there you go, Sagittarius. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.